So I'm not only the youngest on the panel, I think I'm the tallest, so give me a sec here. All right. Um, so again, my name is Sean. I work at Google on the Google Earth Outreach team. And we help nonprofits and public benefit groups use mapping technology, oftentimes to relay the work that they do to the general public. I have a few optional slides for this talk. Obviously, there's no projector. So if you really need an excuse to check your email, pull out your smartphone, go to tcp40.com, and there's a little yellow button that says follow presentation. Otherwise, just enjoy the good weather. All right. So my story starts at about the same time as the beginnings of the internet. We're going to go back to 1969. This is about 2 months after Apollo 11. I think we're about 6 weeks before that first ARPANET transmission from UCLA to SRI. This story takes place in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, back when it was still pristine, and right about the time Brazil started building the Trans-Amazonian Highway. So September 7th, 1969, there were surveyors for this highway going out, and they made first contact with an indigenous tribe called the Suruwi. And following these surveyors came, obviously, construction crews, farmers, ranchers, loggers, and miners, and they completely changed the face of the Amazon. So during the 1970s and early 1980s, while this community was developing the internet and the foundations for the internet, the Suruwi people were struggling to survive with these changes. They were literally fighting with bows and arrows to defend their land and their ways of life. In 1983, about the time that TCP finally made it on ARPANET, the Brazilian government gave the Suruwi people the demarcation of their lands as a protected indigenous area. And starting at that point, they had at least a little bit of protection from these logging and mining efforts happening all around them. But they were still fighting a lot of encroachment on their land. So let's now fast forward about 15 years to 2007. At this point, the Suruwi lands, they're about twice the size of San Mateo County, very pristine. But the forest had been clear-cut all the way right up to the borders of their lands. So much so that if you go into Google Earth, from outer space, literally, you can see the sharp edges of what is this indigenous territory. And that is exactly what a young chief named Chief Almir did when he was at an internet cafe at a nearby town in Brazil. He got on the Google Earth and saw all of these illegal encroachments on his people's land. And he realized, well, I know about these problems, my people know about these problems, but the rest of the world doesn't know about these problems. And he realized that Google Earth could be a tool that he could use to help advocate for their rights. And so he emailed us. And in the 7 years since we first emailed with Chief Almir, we've been collaborating with them, helping them leverage internet technologies. I've had the opportunity to go down to the Amazon a couple times and do trainings on such internet staples as YouTube, blogging, Google Translate, and of course a lot of our mapping tools. And so I just wanted to share a couple of the projects that have come out of that wouldn't have been possible without the internet. The first is dealing with a problem that the Suruwi have had with the fact that most Brazilians live on the coast and they really don't know what's going on in the Amazon. And a lot of people in Brazil are wondering, why do a few thousand people need this huge rainforest, twice the size of San Mateo County, all to themselves? And so the Suruwi used Google Earth and they created a digital map that showcases all of the cultural sites, the sacred sites, and the places on their territory where they collect food and raw materials for their villages. And they were able to share that with the rest of Brazil. Another cool project that they're working on with us is that they are collecting forest survey data using smartphones and open source applications so that they can do biomass calculations for the forest and estimate how much vegetation is on their land. And this is allowing them to enter the carbon offset market, where they can get paid to basically preserve their forests and also replant areas that have been cut down. And the final project, which is very awesome, and the final project that I'm most excited about was started in response to Chief Almir's original request when he emailed us. He wanted a way for Google Earth to track illegal deforestation on their lands. And so my boss at Google, Rebecca Moore, started the Earth Engine project. And this is a satellite imagery analysis platform that allows people to do massive scale parallel computation on huge amounts of historical satellite imagery. So with this platform, scientists are able to go back and look at 30 years of satellite data on a global scale and do change detection analysis on it, which means that this system will allow us to look at really recent satellite imagery and create notifications and alerts for people like the Surowi who need to know when there are illegal encroachments on their land. So anyway, these are just a couple of the examples of how people that I work with are using the internet and how it's changed their lives, which kind of brings me to why I'm here today. So last year at Google, I launched a little tool called Tour Builder, and it's a tool for telling stories on a map, and you can upload photos and videos and text. And it turns out it's kind of perfect for what you guys are doing here and what we want to do with the stories of the early internet. So I've been working with Vince and with Mei Lin and other internet pioneers and aficionados to start collecting the stories, both of how the internet started, but also about the stories of how it's changed our lives. And so that's one of the things that I'm up here to do today. I'm going to be demonstrating Tour Builder a little bit later. And we're looking to collect these stories from you guys, both here today and on the website at tcp40.com a little bit later. And we're hoping to collect a large body of stories as we work towards the 50th anniversary of TCP/IP. So if you would like to see some examples of Tour Builder and the stories that we're collecting, Bill Dahl, who's taking pictures somewhere, has been doing a great job collecting these stories about places like the Hotel Cabana, a mile and a half that way, SRI, I think, a few miles in that direction. Basically, all these local places in the Bay Area that have had such a huge impact on the future, on the development of the internet, as well as other places in California and across the US. So go ahead and check out your programs. You can check out some of those screenshots from Tour Builder, and I'd be happy to show you guys a little bit later. Thanks.